Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. A terrifying attack. A family car rear-ended. Then when they pull over to check damage, deputies say a man jumps out and tries to kidnap their little girl. The aftermath caught on video.
What starts as a call for a shooting leads to two more officer-involved shootings as a man runs through backyards taking shots at a KCSO search helicopter. The end of the wild chase coming up.
And now 5 days until the election, both candidates head to Florida with their campaigns admitting it could be the key to winning the White House. This is Thursday, October 29th, 2020. Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Taylor Schaub in for Alex Fisher this morning. And we have some breaking news from France overnight. 3 people killed in what officials there are calling a terrorist attack. French police say a man armed with a knife killed a woman and a man inside a church in Nice around 9 a.m. That's 1 a.m. our time. Another woman ran away to a nearby cafe, but police say she was hunted down by the attacker and killed. The attacker was shot and taken to a hospital. Police confirmed the incident was being treated as a terrorist attack and that the National Anti-Terrorist Public Prosecutors Department is now officially in charge of the investigation. So yeah, again, this just happened in about 4 hours ago. We'll continue to track any developments in this incident and bring those to you here on Sunrise. Let's go ahead and talk about your forecast back here at home as we inch toward Halloween almost, Kev. Hard to believe.
Yeah, tomorrow, Spooktacular here on Sunrise, a revamped version of Spooktacular, not our traditional where we have it outside, but people have been sending in a lot of amazing costumes, so tomorrow morning is going to be a fun and exciting one. Let's talk about our weather, and we have been looking at a little bit of a haze around the area. That's going to continue. The air quality alert still in place for at least 5 p.m. tomorrow. As we take a look, see, the cobwebs are still there. I have not taken them down or even asked our fine engineers to wipe them down. Not until at least after Halloween. 51 degrees on the temperature right now. A south wind at 3 miles per hour, so light for us. And as we take a look at the hour by hour here, we are expecting upper 70s, even some lower 80s out there this afternoon. 34 degrees in Tehachapi at this time, so definitely a chilly start. No winds to talk about for you. And as we take a look at the hour by hour, you can see by 7 a.m. we should be in the lower 40s, rising into the 70s throughout the afternoon. We'll take a closer look at our Halloween and Halloween forecast that's coming up. I forgot. I almost was thinking Halloween was tomorrow, but that is Saturday. We'll take a closer look at that coming up in a few minutes. Back over to you.
All right, thanks, Kev. 17 Crime Watch now. A shocking story with a man accused of trying to kidnap a 5-year-old girl in the wake of a crash. The victims say they'd never met the man before. 17's Karen Wass spoke with the family about the terrifying incident.
We don't even know this guy.
It was a normal Saturday night. A dad, his 2 kids, and his fiance were heading home from a family movie night when the unthinkable happened.
Brittany Cozart, the children's mom, heard about the incident after it happened.
I had got the phone call at about midnight. I instantly dropped to the floor and was crying.
According to the sheriff's office, 34-year-old Quincy Dean started following the family's car and rear-ended them at this intersection.
They pulled into the Shell gas station to check and assess damage.
Deputies say Dean parked behind the family's car, and then
he ran to my daughter's door, opened the door, reached in and tried to pull her out.
That's when it became a family effort.
My 11-year-old son wrapped his arms around his sister to keep her from being pulled out of the vehicle.
Just in time for their dad to pull Dean to the ground.
I don't want to have to hit him, you know what I mean? Yeah. Well,
my God.
Take my daughter?
When deputies arrived, this is how they found the 2 men. What made it scarier, Dean was a stranger.
You hear about that kind of stuff happening in your community or it's somewhere else. Keep our children right next to us. Lock your doors anytime you're out anywhere.
As close to home this situation hit, the family is proud to call themselves a team.
Quincy Dean pleaded not guilty to 6 felonies, including attempted kidnapping, vandalism, and assault with a deadly weapon other than a firearm. He's being held on $150,000 bail and is due in court December 2nd.
After an hour-long manhunt and 2 officer-involved shootings, a man is now in custody. It began yesterday just after 2:45 in the afternoon near Water and River Streets in northeast Bakersfield. Deputies responded to a call of a person shot with major injuries. That's when the hunt for a shooter, a man armed with a rifle, began. Shortly after 3, KCSO said deputies found the man, and that's when the first officer-involved shooting occurred. But the man got away. According to KCSO, a helicopter saw the suspect running through backyards. Deputies say the man fired several shots at the helicopter. KCSO says they found him shortly before 4 in a backyard off Dartmouth Street. That's when the second officer-involved shooting occurred. Law enforcement was able to arrest the man there. It was an intense few hours for residents in the neighborhood.
I just hear some big bangs and some gunshots, and I see helicopter and I hear sirens. And my friend called me saying, get down and take cover because they're shooting around.
Sheriff's officials say they also got a call from someone who said the man was trying to break into her house. They detained a woman, but said that they were not sure if she's involved yet. The person deputies initially found with a gunshot wound was hospitalized in critical but stable condition. The suspect, whose name has not been released, was hospitalized as well, listed in critical condition.
5:06 your time now. Now to the latest on the wildfires ravaging Orange County, with firefighters making progress battling the Blue Ridge fire burning between Yorba Linda and Chino Hills. It's now holding at just over 14,000 acres and containment's up to 23%. Some evacuation warnings have been lifted, but the fires damaged or destroyed at least homes and structures in Yorba Linda. Thousands still can't go home right now as mandatory evacuations remain in place. And firefighters also kept the Silverado fire near Irvine from growing overnight. It's holding at just over 13,300 acres burned, 32% contained. 5 firefighters have been injured, 2 critically. No homes or structures have been damaged. Evacuation orders have been lifted for the city of Irvine and other areas. The Kern County Fire Department says it has firefighters at both of these wildfires and others in the state. Those fires in Southern California add to the millions of acres burned in the state this year. According to CAL FIRE, there have been more than 8,800 fires this year alone. More than 4.1 million acres have been scorched, killing 31 people and destroying more than 10,000 structures.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic here in Kern County. Public Health reporting 87 new cases, but no new deaths. Right now, just over 10,000 people are isolated in their homes. According to Kern Public Health, just 8 people are suffering from more acute symptoms, and they are being treated at local hospitals. 420 people have died from the virus since March. Public Health says that because there hasn't been a significant change in our overall situation, today's weekly COVID-19 briefing was canceled. But the situation is not improving nationally. Johns Hopkins University reports that the U.S. added nearly 500,000 cases of COVID-19 in just the last 7 days. Across the country, 36 states have seen increases in hospitalized patients over the last week. A hospital in El Paso has set up medical tents for patients as the county reached its highest COVID-19 numbers so far. New restrictions in Chicago begin tomorrow, with bars and restaurants shutting down indoor service. In the U.S., there have been over 8 million cases and more than 226,000 people have died due to COVID-19.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back. In your 17 Business Watch, you can now schedule a virtual vet appointment. Chewy is launching a telehealth service for pets. Customers can now get real-time advice from a licensed veterinarian about their dogs or cats. The service is called Connect with a Vet. It is free for customers who are part of AutoShip, the company's subscription-based program that automatically ships deliveries of food or other pet products. The service was in the works well before the pandemic, but with more Americans adopting or fostering pets during the global health crisis, the company accelerated its rollout. And a new survey finds airline safety measures and flexibility are more important now than the cost during this holiday season. The survey from the Points Guy points out this morning that U.S. adults are more focused on what airlines are doing to combat the spread of coronavirus. They want strict mask compliance on board, heightened cleaning protocols, empty middle seats for social distancing, and flexible cancellation policies. Those concerns seem to outweigh the cost of airfare. Of course, those planning to travel this holiday season, I should say, 38% will say this will be their first trip since the start of the pandemic, and the vast majority will be on the road, not in the air. With the holidays fast approaching, officials say a second wave of the coronavirus may be imminent. Doctors say there is no reason to cancel important family gatherings, but taking extra safety precautions to ensure everybody's safety will be essential this year. NBC's Dan Sheneman has the details.
Wow! Everyone wants a happy and healthy holiday season.
COVID-19 is the most significant public health challenge our country's faced in more than a century, and the pandemic is not over.
A healthy holiday season will be a challenge this year, but not an insurmountable one.
Common sense and simple precautions really is the solution that I see.
Dr. Jake Deutsch says it's a good idea for everyone to get tested before the holidays.
You can't really over-test when it comes to the safety of your family and your loved ones.
And Dr. Deutsch strongly suggests the usual measures: social distancing, hand washing, and wear masks.
Masks work, they're simple, they're easy. There's no excuse why everybody's not participating on the same scale.
With those measures in place, there is no need to go to extremes.
But I don't think that you need to get into surgically sanitizing spoons between serving each other because you're already in a close environment that you would have an anticipated exposure otherwise.
And if travel is part of the holiday agenda,
there's a study out that this year nearly 1 billion people have traveled by air, and only 44 cases of COVID have been linked to direct transmission on a plane.
It's important to remember holiday gatherings can relieve some stress.
And if we can have just moments to enjoy time with our family, I think that's also very important for our health.
Safe holidays can still be happy holidays. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
17 News is your local elections headquarters. In the race for the presidency, it's back to the Sunshine State today. With only 5 days to go, both campaigns admit Florida could be key to winning on Election Day. Tracy Potts has more.
Hi there, Taylor. Good morning, everyone. With 5 days to go, a record 76 million Americans have already voted in this election. And today we're seeing both candidates focus on Florida. Dueling rallies again today, this time in Florida, where Joe Biden has a slight lead.
That lead's going to be taken over, I think, very, very quickly.
President Trump headed home to the Sunshine State from Arizona. Now a toss-up, according to NBC, along with Texas, as a record rise in coronavirus cases continues to haunt the president. Joe Biden slamming the White House for a press release that lists ending the COVID-19 pandemic as one of Mr. Trump's top accomplishments.
It's an insult to every single person suffering from COVID-19 and every family who's lost a loved one.
The White House admits it was poorly worded. Biden honing in on the pandemic and 30 people needing medical attention when thousands were stuck in freezing temperatures after a Trump rally in Omaha.
It's an image that captures President Trump's whole approach to this crisis. He takes a lot of big pronouncements and he makes a lot of big pronouncements, but they don't hold up.
The president is predicting a big red wave.
Our voters are going to vote early, but they're really going to vote on Tuesday.
Suggesting Republicans are holding their votes until Election Day. And that actually bears out in some states where we're seeing more Democrats vote early by mail, more Republicans vote early in person. I'm Tracy Potts, 17 News.
And a new poll conducted by market research firm SSRS and published by CNN shows 54% of likely voters support Biden, with 42% supporting President Trump. Among respondents, 42% said they approve of the president's job performance, with 55% disapproving. An NBC News database of the presidential election poll shows Biden is leading President Trump by multiple percentage points in many swing states, with a few polls leaning towards President Trump in Florida, Iowa, and Arizona.
5:34 is your time now. A mix-up had voters asking if their ballot ever made it to the elections office. Tuesday, voters received an email from Ballot Tracks, the state's ballot tracking system. It told voters that their ballots had not been received by the Kern County Elections Office, even though they already voted. Yesterday, Registrar of Voters Mary Bedard said that Ballot Tracks sent the email because it doesn't count a ballot as being received until it's processed by the elections office. But so many ballots have been turned in, the elections office hasn't processed them all yet, and their sorting machine needed maintenance. Bedard says the office receives ballots the same day they're dropped off, and voters will be told when their ballots have been processed. As we narrow in on Election Day, it is important that you fill out your ballot properly to make sure it's counted. First, mark your ballot, select your candidates. It's important for you to fill in the bubble with a blue or black pen. Do not put a check mark, an X, or other marking, only fill in the bubble. Place only your voted ballot inside the envelope. Second, sign and seal the back of the purple envelope. Write the date and print your name as well. Your signature will be verified, so it's important you sign your name like you typically do. And finally, return your ballot. You can mail it or drop it off at the county elections office. You must drop your ballot off before 8 p.m. on election night.
And if you're looking to keep things rather traditional this year and vote in person and not quite sure how you'll get there, well, you can get on the Get Bus. Golden Empire Transit says it's offering free rides so people can get out and vote on November 3rd. The Get Bus website has a list of routes and maps, plus real-time updates to find the nearest polling place near you. Just go to kernvote.com.
Well, maybe you've seen them around town. The local chapter of the Sunrise Movement involved in protests and political demonstrations. But what are they really about? Sunrise Kern stirred up controversy a few weeks ago when they used obscenities on Facebook to address DA Cynthia Zimmer, who was campaigning in Delano for one of her assistant DAs, now running for city council there. The vulgarity prompted several Democratic candidates to reject their Sunrise Kern endorsement. This is the same group that picketed outside the Bakersfield home of Congressman Kevin McCarthy at 4:30 in the morning. Their methods may be a little uncouth, but the group says it's on a mission trying to inspire action against climate change and promote environmental justice.
The Sunrise Movement is a national organization that really fights to enact a Green New Deal and address the climate emergency for the issue that it is, for the urgency that it needs, and while creating millions of good new jobs in the process through an anti-racist and anti-oppressive lens.
The group says it is nonpartisan, criticizing Republicans and Democrats alike, including Rudy Salas and Melissa Hurtado, over perceived ties to the oil industry. They also say they are nonviolent. At a recent civil rights rally on Chester Avenue, some members of Sunrise Kern were seen keeping opposing sides physically apart. Most recently, the group displayed bright yellow banners from the rail undercrossing on Chester Avenue, yesterday calling out politicians from both parties. The group says it currently has about 70 active members and 500 on its mailing list.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.